Okay, that's.
Gene's here, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
It's my last one, so shut up.
All right, good morning, everyone. Call the Tourism Committee agenda together for December 1st. First order of business is to approve the minutes of the September 23rd, 2025 meeting. Motion Supervisor Strainer, Supervisor Bushido. Any questions on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Privilege of the floor. Any comments, our treasurer?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Apologies. We did not get the occupancy tax report into you, but it's done. And we're just going to give you an update and send it out afterwards. Amanda told me I could do that. Thank you, Amanda. With this, and I know this normally goes in Octax, but because I have to leave, and I'm doing it, Monica a solid and doing it here. I just wanted to let you know. So overall, we are up 5.9%. Sorry, it's really small. Overall, we're up 5.9% total Octax collections. Hotels and motels are up 1.6%. But what's really unusual is the short-term rentals are up 43.8%. So there's a reason for that, which is my second point that I'd like to take you through. The New York State sales tax on STRs has really mucked up process. What's going on now is Airbnb is not giving us anything. It's going back to the STR owners, which actually works better for us. So they're actually reporting to us. VRBO is giving us a report and just lump sum monies in gross. So they're giving us, right now we have over $300,000. But we have no detail on where to apply that. So this 43.8% is up because VRBO is giving us that money on a quarterly basis, where most of our STR owners used to report it on an annual basis. So that's why you'll see it's a timing difference. There's a problem with this because I don't know where to allocate this money that VRBO is sending us. I don't know what STR it goes to, et cetera. There's going to be a delay in some of your collections that I'm going to be able to distribute. It's a little bit like the cannabis. You know, if I don't know where to allocate it, I can't get it to you. We're working on it. I have been, very vocal. And right now I've got New York State involved, NYSEC involved, because New York State is finally hearing all of these complaints, not only from the counties, but they're also hearing complaints from owners that the platforms are not doing what they're supposed to do. And platforms are actually confusing the STR owners. So it's everything that I've been saying all along. Finally, now New York State is getting involved. I've had a conversation with Larry. We've talked in depth about it. Right now I'm sitting on, I think it's tomorrow at noon, NYSEC, New York State, NYSEC and us and the counties. And then on Wednesday, it's New York State, NYSEC and the counties. And literally, we think this is going to be something where they're going to have to amend the law or get the attorney general involved. It is that ridiculous. So that's that. One other thing I wanted to mention, I'm working with Gina and Gary Thornquist, have a couple of specific questions. I actually have the email drafted. I'll be sending it out this morning. And I'm going to ask for both the tourism and occupancy tax folks, if we could meet kind of in a small group, maybe a working session, to go through their questions. And then I think they'd like to address the committee. Heather?
What is that request?
Sure. One part of there's two parts to the request. The first part of the request is the interest and penalties that go along with when we go out and the enforcement. Actually, it's interest and penalties with anything that we get from a short-term rental or even the hotels. Anybody that's late, we collect interest and penalties. Historically, it's been $20,000, $30,000, et cetera. With the enforcement efforts last year and this year, it's over $100,000 because we've gone so tenaciously after people that haven't paid us Octax since 2012. I think it's a one-time hit. Actually, it was over $100,000 last year, and this year to date, it's $80,000. So again, it's because we're going after these folks. So the request is that money now goes to the general fund and their request is, hey, can we just, can we discuss maybe should that go to the occupancy tax fund versus the general fund? I think that an analysis that I have been trying to do for 2 years, because they feel the $230,000 that the treasurer's office gets for tax administration, that work that we're doing should be included in that. Meanwhile, we have put so many new processes in place for enforcement, and we're not the only ones that do OCTAX. We really need to look at this countywide. There's a lot of work that's done at the board level. Larry Ellman does a tremendous amount of work with me. Some of the supervisors, et cetera. So I would suggest that I finally get this analysis done, and I'm going to need everybody's help. And we really understand what it costs to administer OCTAX within the county. Because frankly, I think it's more than $230,000, but I can't really tell you that until I do the analysis. Secondly, again, I mentioned that I think the 80 and the 100,000 last year, the 80, that it's a one-off. Again, on average, it's about $20,000. But again, the question still stands. So I'm thinking maybe January, February, we'll have those discussions. And then the second thing they asked about, which I completely agree with, and I kind of felt a little bit, frankly, I don't know why we hadn't thought about it. Actually, Lisa Mandy had thought about this, but it never went anywhere. It's for nonprofit organizations like Weowaka, like Silver Bay, that they're non-for-profit, but they rent rooms out to people who are not non-for-profit. And just like any hotel, STR, et cetera, if you rent to someone who is non-for-profit, you have to give them your non-for-profit certifications, and then you are exempt from OCTAX. But what's going on right now is they're not being charged at all. So Weowaka and Silver Bay don't collect OCTAX on the county's behalf. Now they're tax exempt, but again, what the critical point is that the people who stay at these resorts are not tax exempt. So that's something, again, I think we should discuss and determine, but does anybody have any questions about that one? Because I think I think that's an opportunity.
When you say,
Go ahead.
when you say people who stay there are not tax exempt, as far as organizations or
People,
in general?
Mr. Taflon, can I use you as an example? I believe you and your family stay at Silver Bay sometimes.
Thought that was you.
I didn't know that, but I'll check.
Maybe you didn't. I actually
Did not
thought I
know
heard.
that, but I'll check.
Sorry, sorry, John. No, really, I thought that maybe your family vacationed up there. Anybody, Mr. Stroud, myself, if I go up to Silver Bay, or frankly, I have been to Weowaka. I've not stayed there, but many of my friends have. I'm just me, Christine Norton. I am not a non-for-profit. I stay there. I pay everything that they need me to pay, but I do not pay OCTAX. Nor do I pay sales tax, I bet. And I think that needs to get looked at.
Committee have a feeling you want to follow this up as recommended in January? Anybody disagree? Okay.
Thank you.
Any other privilege of the floor? Committee members, members of the public, other supervisors? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the action items. We've got 4. The first is a resolution request to rescind resolution authorizing the contract for website consulting and a license agreement with Simple View.
Can I move 4, A and B, because they're both related to Simple View, who was sold to Granicus. Now Granicus is going to do our website consulting, and so it's a new contract and it's all combined.
Okay. Without objection, move A and B together. Heather, do you want to?
Yeah.
Describe any of this?
Actually, John, Supervisor, you did a wonderful job, so I don't think I need to add anything.
Okay.
He is exactly correct as what it is.
All right, we'll have a motion, move A and B. Supervisor Molino, Supervisor Stroud, Supervisor Molino on the second. Questions? I just have one question. Did we have some issues with Granicus with the treasurer's office?
So, the irony of all this is Simple View was its own party. Granicus has kind of gobbled it up. We don't utilize any of those types of services that the treasurer's office formerly used. It's simply website management and the hosting of it. We basically manage all the content and everything that appears on it. So I haven't had any issues and I don't see any issues. If we were to see any issues, I definitely will bring it to this committee and address it with some recommendations. But right now, there's still fun. To me, the service that I get is the same that I've gotten before.
Okay. Any other,
Did Granicus buy Numo? Or not? Or is that separate?
I believe
Did I
that's a
hear-
separate one.
Okay.
I believe it is, yeah. I think it's a
Separate.
competitor.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a competitor, I believe.
It is a competitor. I don't know if they bought them or not.
any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Third item is need a committee approval to transfer funds from tourism salaries part-time to tourism hospitalization in the amount of $1,028.33. Heather, we need any further explanation on that?
We do not, but in consideration of what we did for A and B, we have the same type of resolution we're requesting approval on. And it's from the same tourism salary part-time to cover overtime. So we've got funds in the tourism salary part-time position. And then we would like to move them for the additional dollars for the hospitalization and the additional dollars for overtime.
All right, so one, entertain a motion to move items C and D. Supervisor Molino, Supervisor Turner on the second. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Got one discussion item, which is the Tourism Director report. Heather?
Thank you so much. And I am going to ask that everyone go to their new packet, page 25. I'm going to give an update on international programs. And when I first came here in 23, there were programs that supported the Canadian markets, but not as many programs that supported other international efforts. So I'm going to walk you through some of that, which we have done over the last 2 years, the successes, the current state of the international travel, and so on. So if you go on to page 26, so the state of the international travel, and there's a couple of sources here. Tourism Economics projects international tourist arrival in the United States to reach 67.9 million in 2025. This is a significant decline in visitation. However, it's substantially upward from upward revisions from earlier forecasts. So back in the beginning of the year, they thought that that was going to be a lot lower than it was in 25. However, with visitation that took place over the second and third quarter of the year, they're seeing upwards in arrivals. So visitation is projected to continue to grow by 4% in 26. And a lot of this is fueled by the FIFA World Cup, the Route 66 Centennial, and American 250. And then looking further ahead, arrivals are expected to continue and grow at an annual rate of 5%. So by 2029, visitation is expected to reach records levels of 81.9 million in arrivals, which is surpassing the 79.9 million set in 2018. So then moving on to page 27, some additional information about the travel to the U.S. And so according to a release from NTTO, which is the National Travel and Tourism Organization data, inbound international travel to the United States by non-U.S. citizens softened in October compared with prior years. So overall non-USA arrivals is 4.8 million. And that's air passengers arriving in the U.S. just in October alone. This represents a 4.4% decrease from previous year. Overall visitors arriving, excluding Canada and Mexico, overseas visitor entries total 3.1 million, which is down 3.1 year over year. So again, this is just in October. Year to date, January to October, its overseas visitation was 2.5% lower than the same period prior year. So the inbound demand really varies by the world region. So Europe is slightly year-over-year increase in total regional travel activity. Asia is a stronger year-over-year growth, with Japan showing a double-digit gain, and South Central America and the Caribbean are largely stable compared to last year. So the leading markets as of October that are coming into the United States is Mexico, believe it or not, Canada, UK, Germany, and Japan. Japan is showing the highest with 11% growth year over year. So this just gives you an idea of what is happening in the international market today. And so one of the programs that we participated in both 24 and 25 is Brand USA. 24, we were able to partner with a NYSTIA Market New York grant. In 25, that grant was not available, so we purchased on their own. So if we go on page 29, and we did a couple of programs, we updated the Visit USA Lake George landing page. It does say Lake George. One of the requirements of Brand USA is you have to have a city. You can't promote a region. You have to have, so that's why we say Visit USA Lake George landing page. The communication on that talks about Lake George area, but it has to do with an actual location that can be found on a map. So we did photos on the gallery, videos, content, fun facts, event section. It was translated into 8 total languages. We also did an interactive travel guide and programmatic media, branded carousel ads, and native advertising. So all of this resulted in, and you'll see the impressions, the clicks, the total room nights of 655 room nights, and the total bookings of 124,487. And so there's still additional results that come in because this program ran from April 1st to June 16th. So there may be a little bit of staggering results that come in, but they're not that significant because international travelers, as we know, take longer to book. However, this was specifically in the Canadian market. So I believe that this is most likely very close to final results. Going on to page 30. We're now going to look at the programs we ran this year, and we ran in the UK and the Canadian market. So we did a global inspiration program. We again updated some of the Visit USA city pages, programmatic media, and optimizing audience campaigns. Going on to 31, we're looking at the campaign results for the UK and Canada combined. So we had a total of 668 total room nights, with a total booking revenue of 119,818. And then going on to the next page is 32. This is leveraging again their proprietary audience, and we reached intended travelers at every stage from booking through multiple touch points to drive the action. So this optimization allowed us to not only optimize, if you see the image there on the Visit USA page, it's a Lake George and it has all of our images there. It then goes on to do additional marketing and to push travelers to a dedicated Expedia.com site so that they can book directly onto our hoteliers here in Warren County. This gave a 668 total room nights with a total hotel booking of 119,818. Another piece of the 25 is a global inspiration program. It's a high funnel strategy. It's more about awareness and inspiration to travelers. So we received a section in the Visit the USA guide that is, and we were featured in an engaging print guide, which was distributed globally and in market from May 2025 and will continue through May of 26. Moving on to page 34. The last piece of the Brand USA program that we bought into was programmatic media campaign in Canada. Again, just, I know that there's the sentiment of Canada this year. These program commitments have to be done at least 6 months prior to the year's start. So we moved through with the anticipation that we would not get as high as we would, but we leveraged the Brand USA proprietary auction in Canada to ensure Lake George reach in the right audience in time. So we were able to keep the pulse in the Canadian market very light though, not overarching and overhitting as we were getting some feedback from the Canadian market in the first half of the year that they didn't want as much pushing towards them. So we understood that, and so they extended out the number of impressions that they would put out. And so that's why it's an average click-through rate of 0.16. The average is usually about 0.25, but this program is also continuing, my apologies, that should say FY25 campaign results in the upper right-hand corner, not 24. But this program is continuing to run as well. They allowed us to run an additional impressions to run out the campaign a little bit longer. Next piece is Wine, Water, and Wonders of New York State. For us, we are a partner in this upstate New York combined destination campaign for the international travel into the US. It cost us $15,000 per year. We just will be completing our second year commitment, and we'll also be putting forth in front of the tourism committee an approval to fund this additionally for the 26 and 27. So a piece of this is just to give you their nonprofit destination management company. They're focused on product development, destination marketing, packaging, and education. It's really about connecting the consumers, the travel trade, the media, and the press in upstate New York. Looking at page 37, these are all the partners in here. We have Hudson Valley, the Lake George area, Corning Museum of Glass, Watkins Glen, Visit Ithaca, Visit Rochester, and Niagara Falls, USA. This is how we represent us to the international market, is to show that we are a combined upstate New York destination, and that we can be accessible to many of the surrounding international airports. We have a dedicated winewaterandwonders.com site that every partner is a part of. And one of the new unique features that we added this year was a Book Now component highlighting all of the various partners that we have where our bookable packages are featured. So on page 39, this is a list of all our travel partners, and I'll go through each one in short detail. But these are all of the programs that we work with. Yes, you see Brand USA in here as well. So we not only appear with them on Lake George area focus, but also on a Wine, Water, and Wonders focus. So moving on to America As You Like It, their specialty tour operator offering tailor-made fly drive and city breaks throughout. Fly drive just means that someone is going to be flying into the destination or to one of the international airports and driving throughout our destination. It was founded in '99, and it's continually expanded its range and destinations experiences. It offers holidays that are completely match each individual client's requirements. And so they look at small bed and breakfast to large resorts to luxury properties or budget hotel stays. And so you can't really read it on here, but we have a feature page on that site. We also have a listing in their booking agent that once you're happy with the Wine, Water, and Wonder product, you can actually go in and book that travel with a local agent. North American Travel Services, again, very similar to the America As You Like It, a privately owned travel agency with more than 50 years experience. It crafts various vacations across the US and Canada. So it's based in the UK, and the agency specializes in luxury tailor-made journeys, end-to-end services, custom itineraries, personalization, travel guides, and support. Again, we have our own page for Wine, Water, and Wonders on their website, as well as a landing page that you can click to book that actual package as it appears on that page. And another one, RMP Travel, they're based in New York City, and their destination manager, again, creating and managing customized travel experiences, and it services across the US, Canada, and the Caribbean. These are more luxury, high-end, accommodation, fine dining, special events, and private tours. So again, we are featured on there as a bookable product. Looking at page 43, Brand USA, I put these two together. Number one is you've seen a lot of the how Brand USA reports out. But then Canusa is a program we purchased through Brand USA, and it's a co-op through them. They are a German tour operator in Hamburg, and they specialize in travel to the United States. So they're not only B2B, they're B2C as well. They're the largest operator that focuses solely on US travel, and it's a wide range of customizable products. One of the earlier results of a program that we did with Brand USA is, in addition to the Canusa, we had the German programmatic program. It brought in 1.8 total impressions, 3,200 clicks, 0.18 click-through rate, which is beating the benchmark by 80%, meaning Germans are still interested in learning more. And then they also attended the Brand USA Travel Week 2024 and 2025. A couple other programs that we participate in is Discover Destination. This is an inbound destination marketing organization, management company, should I say. They're headquartered in Atlanta. They offer a variety of travel services, educational tours, sports packages, corporate packages. Some of their packages or clientele include student, business, leisure, both customizable and pre-packages. They're mainly focused on US, Canada, Mexico, the Caribbean, and other global destinations. Wine, Water, and Wonders are utilizing them as two opportunity markets that we're exploring in India and Latin American clientele. The Latin American clientele is an up-and-coming new market that is really going to start to take over some of the other holes that some of the other countries have backed out of coming to the US. And then Travel Gossip. This is a UK-based travel trade media brand delivering industry news and solutions. It's widely recognized for its large Facebook community of more than 30,000 travel industry members and a range of marketing and services. I just sat on a call last week that educated the UK-based travel trade, and will be featured in front of that 30,000 travel industry members, introducing them to Wine, Water, and Wonders, each of the different partners and the assets that it provides. We then will be launching in January a 12-session training session. So each of the operators or agents will go through each of those training sessions, answer questions, and can enter to win prizes. And each of those unique travel sessions, one is dedicated for each partner. We have our own dedicated travel session on Lake George area. And then we also, part of those training sessions, will be educating them on the different operators that they can use. One being, North America Travel Services. So they're all working cohesively together. We are in the process of pulling the data and the results for Wine, Water, and Wonders for 24 and 25. That was part of a grant program that they received through the federal government, through the ARPA funds. So we're excited to see how the results come in. Two final pieces of Wine, Water, and Wonders is the various travel shows and sales missions. We did an I Love New York, UK, Ireland, and German sales mission. That's where we were able to visit with Canusa and meet with them one-on-one. We were able to meet with various travel agents. The irony of UK and Ireland, they are very much, I don't want to say the old school, but they have places like Cassidy Travel that are very on a lot of different streetscapes, and people walk in and that's how they book their travel. So some of it also is online, but a lot of it is through these travel agents, and they all have their dedicated and specialty persons there. As I said before, Brand USA Travel Week, UK and Europe, IPW, World Travel Market in London, ITB in Berlin, IITA Summit, which is taking place in Niagara Falls in 26 in February, and an American Cup, which is a program that brings together both domestic and international operators and destinations. And then finally, on page 46, these are just some of the marketing efforts that we have, and we received some great placement in both Mean America Germany, Essentially America in a UK article, American Journal in Germany, and Vodafone UK, which is a basically it's with your cell phones over in the UK. It was a promotion that they did and awarded an influencer the ability to come to the US to discover wine, water, and wonders and promote it back on their influencer channels. We've got some great placements, some great images. As you can see, some of these are our images, which is great, continues to keep us top of mind in the international market. I know that was a lot, but it was a lot of programming that we've done over the last 2 years, and we will continue to monitor the international market. But I do believe that, with the spend that we've done minimally, should I say, in less than $100,000 in the last 2 years, I think it was well worth spend with the return on the number of overnight stays that we were able to capture.
Thank you. Questions for our director? Comments? Supervisor Molino.
I'm gonna make a comment. Heather has done a great job for tourism since she's been aboard. And I've been on this committee for 20 years, and it's really moved forward, especially with technology, which is this far over my head. But, and she's kept us up on everything that's going on, and I hope you continue the job.
Thanks, Jean.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think the entire committee echoes your sentiments. Any other questions, comments? All right, seeing none, we'll move to privilege of the floor. Any committee members, other supervisors? Supervisor, you have a comment? Supervisor Strainer?
Oh, no, I thought you were pointing to the back, but
Supervisor Driscoll.
Thank you, Chairman. In between the meeting, I was reading the fall edition of the NYSAC News. And being a Warren County cheerleader, I want to thank Don Lehman for submitting the article celebrating the workforce annual Warren County end of summer event grows. It highlighted basically our hospitality and tourism industry and all the employees throughout the year that work on our behalf. This is read by individuals from throughout New York State, any opportunity, and I read all these that come in. I think 3 or 4 each season has an edition, and we get our information in this quite a bit as compared to a lot of the other 61 counties. So read it and enjoy the article. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Wild?
Chairman, thank you. Thanks again. I just have one question. It was a lot of detail, but I don't understand the big picture, right? What is our return on our investment in terms of what we used in terms of cash and what we used in effort? So it helps me understand basically, are we moving in the right direction? The detail was so much that I couldn't figure it out as I was writing things down. So can we, as we go forward with these presentations, just to give also a high level and have the detail to follow, but it gives us a better sense of, are we really doing and achieving what we hope to achieve? So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I can add to that if that's okay.
Go right ahead.
Just initially off the top of my head, we brought in about a little over $250,000 just in beds, and we spent $100,000. So we've above and beyond went over 50%. So we received $250,000 in revenue of hotel overnights. Do you want that to, I'm sorry?
So we're negative on our bets. So
No.
next we get a return for this.
Supervisor Wild, if you would just use the microphone so everybody could hear.
Sorry.
We received $250,000 just in overnight stay economic impact. We
And,
spent $100,000 to get that.
and then our return for our tax, so we can go more, is much less than the 100,000 we spent.
I'm not following your question.
Well, if we have $250,000 in revenue for bookings.
Mhm.
4% of that comes back to us in occupancy tax.
But I wouldn't just think about it as us as 4% occupancy tax. I would think about it as the economic impact to the hoteliers as well. So I would look at that as a return on the investment as a whole picture, not individually.
I understand, but it's more of the, again, the big picture to understand. If we're doing this internationally and this is our return versus what we're doing domestically, try to get those pictures from a high level to say, are we really achieving what we hope to achieve? So yes, granted, OCTAX is less than $100,000 that we spent. But it's understanding what's our return, total return on investment. So, okay, there's going to be a certain amount of sales tax, there's going to be a certain amount of spending that they do in addition to the beds, but try to put that all together to understand what the true economic impact of that 100,000 is. You can do that.
I could if I had a analytical staff to pull that all together. I think that in the results of what this is, and that $250,000 return on $100,000 investment doesn't include what we invested in Wine, Water, and Wonders, what we'll get on return for that. So I can just imagine that number could even double. But I don't have those results either. So right now, I can say that the economic impact is $250,000 to the $100,000 spend that we have. That's the economic impact to Lake George area in totality. And
One comment.
additional things that I'm
Oh, I
missing,
didn't know
we
she
can
was still going.
absolutely.
Spend some time thinking about this and we'll chat some more. Find a way to put
Yeah.
that big picture.
Supervisor Cressida?
To your point, which these are hard numbers to figure out across the board, but that's a 10% return for your numbers that you're looking at right there. So if you take 4% of 250,000, which is the revenue that was created, it's $10,000 over 100,000 invested, it's a 10% return.
10% return.
That's an ROI for that. Not a bad return. Very difficult to apply these numbers across the board to everything that OCTAX invests in.
Anything else?
There will be, not right now.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, additional comments? Yeah, use the podium, please.
The one piece and, really Heather, all of that work is to your point, the pieces that you don't see there those were actual room nights. That doesn't, when you look at a dollar that's spent on a room night, you're forgetting then there's other pieces that go to food and beverage, to retail, to attractions, to transportation, that all come back and collect sales tax. So, those are the other pieces that happen. So on top of that $224,000, so that's one piece. The other piece is the earned media, which she kind of touched on, but the earned media that happens there, if we had to buy that additional advertising one-offs versus being part of Wine, Waters, and Wonders and the collective buying of that, we couldn't afford it. To buy an ad in Destinations or Gossip Travel or any of those publications, we wouldn't have been able to buy that on our own, versus the collective. So I just throw that out there because, there's other pieces that go into that actually add to the economic impact that just that $224,000 doesn't tell us. So.
Thank you.
just some thoughts.
Supervisor Merlino?
One thing in all my years on this board, and I was at a conference and the governor was saying that exit 33, I think it is on Thruway, was one of the highest rated exit because of the casino. And when we questioned him, he kind of pointed to me when I questioned it. And I says, well, you're saying it's $1 million one exit. All those people have to get back on the exit and go to 30 exits off. So it's actually 2 million. So it's tough to figure out, because there's so many different things. You can count when one exit gets off, collects $1 million, but when those people get back on the whole highway and get off at 30 different exits, it's still another $1 million. People don't calculate it that way. And the same with tourism. It's just my comment.
Supervisor Strainer.
Okay, well, this isn't my place, but I'm gonna mention it. Gene, we're gonna miss you. You've been on here for a long time. You've been an advocate for our tourism for the 20+ years, and before my second tour here, I served with you. And it was always a pleasure, and we'll miss you greatly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Month has been bittersweet, and I lay in bed at night and saying, oh, 30 days left, but you know, it's gonna be, you know, like, almost like a funeral. You're happy you were there to see the person go, but you miss them a lot, or her, you know.
Well,
That's the way I feel about this group. We've had a lot of ups and downs in tourism in my 20 years. We've had some great years, we had some slow years, we had some problem years with different supervisors. But this tourism department and Oxby has done a great job over 20 years, and I'm proud to have been part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you for your leadership, Gene.
Yeah.
Other comments?
Also on that same note,
Yes.
with yourself, thank you so much for standing in for Deb on the last second.
Actually, I checked. She did tell me a couple of weeks ago.
I thought we dropped the ball.
No, you didn't. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate working with all of you. On that note, a motion to adjourn. Supervisor Stroud, second. Supervisor Strainer, any discussion or comments on the adjournment? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?